Good evening. That's a fancy intro. Fancy. How's everybody tonight? Welcome. Thank you all for
Doing
showing
great,
up.
man. Doing
Appreciate it.
Hey,
We apparently had a bit of a technical malfunction, a disconnect, a glitch, a snafu earlier.
snafu.
Yeah, snafu. Situation normal, all fouled up. The link for the YouTube stream was unlisted, even though the stream was scheduled. And fortunately, I saw that on Twitter, and I tweeted and I've posted a couple things in Toad's Discord. So hopefully, everybody's looking, and we'll show up here in a minute. If you are here,
it's like playing cards with kids.
It is.
Right.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah, like playing cards with your brother's kids. That's right. So no technical situation, no demo ever survives first contact or something like that. Welcome. We've got a special guest tonight, Tango Oscar Mike. Tom N3WS is with us tonight. Tom joins us. That's the handsome-looking gentleman down there. We all pointed in the right direction this time. It's easy for me because he was straight down beneath me. I didn't have to figure out that whole left-right thing. Tom joins us from a secure undisclosed location in Pennsylvania. This cat is going to make me crazy.
Throw it. Sell it. Sell cat.
She comes all the time. She's like, she knows, hey, Dad's on stream. Let's go stand back there and wave our butt. Anyway, I don't know what I was saying. I'm sure it was clever. Charles, how are you, man? What's going on?
I'm doing great, man. I working on a video today. What was it about? It's about gain antennas. I may post it tonight, tomorrow morning. I don't know. But,
it's not posted yet?
I haven't posted it yet, no.
Okay.
Cool.
Just in the chat there. But just talking about whether you should buy or get a gain type antenna like a Yagi or something like that, or a Moxon. You gotta get that in there.
There it is. If you had Moxon, bingo.
Get that in early.
Right.
I think we need a couple more squares besides just the one.
Well, he hasn't said it in a couple 3 weeks, so I thought,
I think I got it last week. Finally, it took me
Did
to
you?
the end.
Okay.
the end.
All right. Steve, what are you doing? Road trip.
I am driving. I've been in the car since 6 a.m. this morning. Iron butt, man.
Yeah. Steve is somewhere in Kentucky on his way to Huntsville Hamfest. I'll be leaving tomorrow. It don't take me all day. It takes me about 2.5, 3 hours to get there.
See, if I was going through Kentucky, I don't think I'd get through it. I think I'd end up stopping at a
without
distillery.
stopping. Yeah. I have been to the Jim Beam distillery, and we also went to one other one, and I can't remember what it is. It's fascinating. Just they got a great tour. If you ever get a chance to go, it's well worth it.
I'm now in.
Joe Brett wants to know what's taking you so long. Cops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LEOs.
They ruin everything.
Yeah. I've been to
Joe
Kentucky a few times. I think I've been to pretty much every distillery.
Have you? Okay.
We've pretty much hit them all. Yeah, just the history and stuff of it is pretty fascinating to me.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been to any famous ones. I've been to one in down by the ocean, a little south of me, but it was actually really good.
Yeah,
what kind of distillery is that? I'm sorry, Tom.
Good.
Oh, they do whiskey and then they do what's the clear stuff?
Tequila?
No.
Vodka? Tito's is out there, I think. Yeah.
No, the fake stuff. I mean, the stuff they used to sell when you couldn't buy. Moonshine. They make moonshine too.
Okay.
I don't know. They make a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. We have in Pennsylvania now, that seems like the small distilleries are becoming more and more popular.
Right.
And I've tried a lot of them, and none of them I've really been a big fan of because they all taste like grain alcohol. Just recently, there was a whiskey festival here in Pennsylvania, the Whiskey Rebellion, and I did a whiskey tour, and you walked around. They had a bunch of booths set up, and there was one I tried, and I like it almost as much as some of my favorites from Kentucky.
Really?
What is your favorite?
Whew,
It doesn't have to be from Kentucky, but
Yes,
No,
it
my
does. Real bourbon.
most of my favorites are from Kentucky. My favorite of all time right now is Bird Dog 10-year, which you won't be able to find anywhere. We bought a supply when it was available, but I like Russell's Reserve. It's from Wild Turkey. It's Russell's is
Yeah.
the head distiller, and that's probably one to go to, and just regular Bullet is really good to me.
Oh,
So,
that's
Yeah,
San
Bullet's
Francisco, I think.
Bullet's good.
We call it Boulet.
Boulet.
I think
Y'all
it's
all
out of San
fancy.
Francisco, though, isn't it?
No, it's from Bullet, Kentucky, I think.
I don't think so. I don't know. I have to
Yeah.
look it up now.
I don't
But the
know.
one-
Tom,
I like
have you been there? Is Bullet
Yes.
in Kentucky? Settle
It's in
this
Kentucky.
argument.
yes,
Of course it is. It's in Kentucky. I knew that.
They just opened up a whole new facility this year. Like they bought more property and they opened up a completely new facility, and it's completely like off grid. Like they all solar panels, everything's
say
like
Kentucky.
recycled. Everything it's completely environmentally friendly. But it's called the Bullet Whiskey Experience, and I guess it's a massive facility. But I haven't. It just opened. I haven't been there yet.
See, I got to go.
They want my birthday
I just got
to
to go.
in. It is. It does. You know what it was? I think it won a one of those bourbon offs or something in San Francisco one time. I think that's what I read.
Yeah.
First time I bought it. It's
Well,
pretty good.
The one here, the one that I tried, is called. It's from Arsenal Distillery, and it's called One Bullet Bourbon, and it's named after the whiskey rebellion that happened here in Pennsylvania. And it's like I said, there's not too many local bourbons that I've actually would even buy. And I tasted that one during this festival, and I was like, gotta go buy a bottle, and it's almost gone. I gotta go find another one. It's not in the stores yet, I guess.
Wow. And it takes a while to make bourbon. I mean, it ages in a cask for quite a while. Like what, 10 or 12 years, I think, before they'll
Well,
even.
I think like 3 to 4 is the minimum. But
Okay.
with the small distilleries, they use a much smaller barrel, so it doesn't take as long. It actually ages faster because there's greater temperature variance.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I remember the tour vaguely, and it was really fascinating. There was a lot of science and a lot of witchcraft in the whole process. I thought it was kind of a combination of both of those things.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So, Tom, I heard that you have big news to share with the world, and I want to hear it. What is the big news? I have big news too, but you go ahead because you're like
Let
the
me
guest.
ask you. Can I ask him differently?
You ask him however you want, Chuck. Let's forget
Tom,
I said anything. Chuck's gonna ask.
Because Abe didn't believe me when I told him this. Tom, what did you break recently? What radio did you break recently?
The TX 500. I broke the Lab 599.
TX 500 or not 599?
It's Lab 599, but it's the TX 500.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah. And
What did
I
you
still don't know
break?
what happened to it. First, they thought it was just a transistor, and the last update I got was that I needed a whole new lower board in the unit.
Oh, really sorry about that. I was laughing at.
Yeah.
Abe said hogwash.
Yeah,
He didn't believe me last night. I told him a couple days ago. Really?
And no real understanding of what happened. And because of the war going on in the Ukraine and the embargoes against Russia, it's hard for them to get parts. So it's been in the repair shop for almost 3 months now. So,
Well,
but they told me as soon as they get the part in, they'll ship it back express and get it back to me as soon as possible.
I sent my 991 in, and it would end up just being loose. They didn't plug the cables in, the ribbon cables, and that took that was only to L.A. area, and that took at least a month and a half.
Yeah. I've never had a radio fail before, so it's just hard to, and because he's kept me informed and let me know the parts struggles they've had, because the radio is from Russia, and he's still able
Right.
to talk to the factory and support and stuff like that. But getting parts is another issue.
So are you talking to someone in Russia, or you have a guy here that's talking to his peoples in Russia?
No, the main repair shop for the radio now is in Reno. There's a gentleman in Reno that's doing all the repairs and all the warranty
Okay.
stuff.
Oh,
Okay, so
that's
it's
not
not
too bad then.
okay. It's not sitting in Russia waiting on all that.
Yeah, because you're actually not allowed to do business in Russia.
Well, that's kind of what I thought. So,
My company we had two offices in Russia, and at first they said we're not allowed to sell any new products. We can only support the products we have. And then they said, nope, now you're not allowed to do anything. And we pretty much had to just abandon the offices.
oh man,
Just all the equipment, just write it off. It's gone. So, and I don't think that'll change anytime soon.
wow.
But
So you have this. I'm going to murder a cat. I'm just kidding, YouTube.
Hey,
Well,
you
don't
actually
murder
have
her,
a better look on you. Actually, you went. Oh, never mind.
Well, if she would get up
So
here
that's
and
close
lay
to me.
down,
I'm only like a couple hours from Reno, maybe 2 to 3 hours.
I apologize.
yeah,
I
I
can pick
love
it
the
up for you.
radio. I mean, the form factor and everything was, I thought it was great. I was actually looking forward to, they were supposed to be coming out with a battery pack and other stuff for it, but all
Right.
that kind of nixed. And it's a shame because
Right.
I honestly thought that company was going to, do some great things going forward. So
They
I
had
hope
a-
they
they
still
had a-
do. It's just here in the United States, we won't be able to have access to it.
Right.
When that was
I-
first announced, it took a while for that to actually get where you could buy one. It was vaporware for a long time
Yeah.
too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I waited. Even when it came out, I was like, well, it's not quite what I want. It was missing some features like a voice keyer. I think that's kind of critical in a radio, especially if you're doing POTA and, contests. It didn't have a voice keyer. And then I heard it had a voice keyer, and then I heard that they added the SWR sweep graph to the radio, and that made my decision, and I bought one right away after that. So
How did you figure out that it was broken? The Smoking Ape inquires.
zero transmit power.
Well, that'll do it. Right
Yeah,
there.
even when you were doing like the SWR test that has a built-in SWR test and stuff, nothing out, multiple
Wow.
resets, talk to support, and they're like, yep, something's wrong. And as soon as I sent it in, they said, yeah, you have a final transistor gone. It took a while to get those in because those are in short supply. And then they got those in. He said, no, he worked with the factory and they determined that the whole lower board in the unit needed to be replaced.
Oh man, that's terrible.
So I ended up buying a 705, which I never thought I would, but I did.
I didn't think I'd buy one either,
Woohoo! Oh my lord! Wait.
but I got mine for like $1,000. So
Yeah. Well, even the TX500, there's still some for sale.
Now is the time we dance.
Uh,
This
You
is
missed
my
the
first
first one.
You want
official
him?
super chat.
it's
I
not-
haven't
it's-
even told
it's-
him yet.
Oh,
This
my
is
god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
First
It's your
official
second one
super
tonight,
chat.
dude. Dude, it's your second one tonight. I did tell
Second
Brian.
one.
Thank you. Yeah, Brian got you earlier.
I missed that.
I told him
was
thank
probably
you.
fighting that stupid cat. Thank you, Brian. Yeah.
So Brian got you, Terry, Jim?
That's what Chuck said. I don't remember, Brian. I might have been drinking. Yes, he did. Son of a gun. What's this button do? Brian, thank you. I apologize. I let that totally roll by. Woo woo. And Phil, thank you.
I thanked him in the chat for you. Amrad.
Appreciate it, brother. Yeah, that's my announcement. I am free of YouTube jail, and I now can get super chats and super stickers and super dupers and whatever. And so far, so
Nice.
yay! Thank you. Y'all have a way to support the channel, and I appreciate it so much, very much. And I will continue to try and bring interesting videos to you, so we can all
we
share in this,
finally
this
jailbroke you.
hobby. That's right. Jailbroke. I was jailbroke now, man. I feel a Thin Lizzy song in my head right now, but I can't sing it because then I would get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I
that's
sound
great
just
too.
like Thin Lizzy when I sing.
Jim will put on a layer of clothing. Every minute goes by, you don't send in a super chat, Jim will take off a layer of clothing.
Oh, that'd be good for business.
He's gonna be sweating. I don't know what.
Yeah, y'all don't want to see that. Y'all do not want to see that. I'll go get my Speedo out. I mean, I need to see some super chats, people, or the Speedo's coming out.
Man, just threatening people like that, man, that's tough.
Hey, Derek, welcome to the show, man.
Humor.
Glad you made it. And all
Derek,
y'all,
welcome.
I meant to mention this earlier. Andy Cowley, I haven't spoken to you yet. Scout, I think Ed, I talked to 45. What's up, brother? Cape Cod, how are y'all? Phil, good evening. There was a little bit of a technical malfunction because Dad's not here and the other dad is on the road. Sam, saw you. Hey,
Hate
I
to
think
say
we're
this,
caught up mostly. Oh,
Jim.
K5YVY.
Jim, you just went to 999 after that comment. Sorry.
I went to 999. What are you talking about?
I did every part I could. What do you guys think of that thumbnail?
Ooh.
That thumbnail was fabulous. I mean, if Tom liked it, it was Tom's face on it.
That
So
was good. It was good.
My favorite
That
part
me,
of doing
Tom?
YouTube videos.
So Tom, what all are you doing on your channel? I see you have kind of a wide range of stuff on there. A lot of POTA, and you're all about some QRP.
Yeah, I love QRP. I don't own a 100-watt radio. I don't own an amplifier for any of my QRP radios. I operate 100% QRP.
Hey, I thought you had an A57.
I did before, but it literally sat on a shelf and I never used it.
Oh, you got good money for that, hopefully. They're worth
I did,
more they were
actually,
than they knew.
Yeah, I actually have a K3, an Elecaf K3 sitting over on the shelf. It belongs to my club. My club we lost our clubhouse a couple of years ago, so we just have like equipment floating around. And we were doing a special event for the Whiskey Rebellion, so I borrowed a 100-watt radio. You know, wasn't going to try to do a special event with, QRP. Wanted to be able to reach some people, but I used it for that event, and then I unplugged it and set it on a shelf. I'll give it back to our club equipment manager here. But
Okay.
yeah, just don't. It's with QRP. I know a lot of people think worry about all the equipment for QRP, and to be honest, it's more of a state of mind and patience. If you're not in a rush,
Right.
and you can wait an hour to make if you're trying to reach a special station like the 13 colonies,
Right.
it
That'd
may take
some
you
work.
an hour.
Yeah.
It may take you an hour to make a contact, but I just sit here and listen, wait till there's a lull and not 50 people calling the guy at the same time, and put my call in, and I got a clean sweep on 13 colonies. The only I just didn't get Great Britain bonus station.
I always try to slow call. I wait because there's always,
Oh,
yours Ed, and then there's, and I'm like, okay, right now. How about that?
Yeah, there's all kinds of techniques,
Right. Now, Smoke and Ape asked if you could compare the 705 to the 500 because he just bought a 500 and he wants to feel good about it. But now you're scaring him.
Ape has some major man love on the 705 too, so just let you know.
He does. He's conflicted right now.
I love the 705, the TX500. I enjoyed using that radio more than any other radio I've owned so far. The 705 is great. I love how easy it is to do digital modes and stuff with the 705. But as far as just a single sideband operating with the TX500, it's fantastic. If it wasn't for my concerns over support, because I think a product is only as good as the support you can get for that radio, and the fact that the company's in Russia and everything. I hate to say it, but that would be the only thing that would make it hesitant. If that wasn't going on,
getting support, yeah,
I probably wouldn't have bought a 705. To be honest, I wouldn't have got a 705.
Now you mentioned digital modes. Have you tried digital modes on the 500 yet?
Yes. Yep. They don't give you a cable. They give you the adapter for it, and you have to make your own cable. So I made my own cable. I did, I do WinLink, JS8 call.
Right. Yeah, I saw that on your YouTube channel. Right.
I will do. I've played around with FT8 a little bit, but it just doesn't float my boat. It's not really for me. But I also do NB EMS on it for I'm part of Aries here in my area. I'm the Aries coordinator, the emergency coordinator for Aries. So I used it for NBEMS during our drills and everything else. So yeah, it was great. But I got up one day and went to use the radio and was calling somebody, and I looked and no transmit power, and my antennas are resonant, so it wasn't the antenna. I don't know what happened. I just don't know. And
Wow.
I run off battery. I'm not running off a power supply. I strictly run off battery here.
So it wasn't some kind of weird electrical thing
Yeah, it couldn't have been a
off
power
the main.
surge.
Yeah, right.
And we didn't have any storms in the area or anything like that. I don't know.
Stuff happens. I mean, everything
Right.
breaks. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter who
It's
makes
electronics, and
So-
occasionally, yeah, you just
The
get-
only thing that I
I'm saying
can
that just
think
because
of.
his Yaesu broke.
Yeah.
do what, Steve?
I said Chuck's just saying that because his Yaesu just broke. My Icom's never broken.
Neither has mine, to be fair. All the
Yeah,
Icoms
but I've
I've
seen
ever owned.
7300s come with screens that didn't work from the factory, so they all break.
Yeah. The only thing I can think that might have been it is I was doing WinLink session, and I didn't turn the power down. I was running the full 10 watts doing WinLink, and it happened to be I know there was a long session the one time, and I thought maybe that did it, because the radio did get warm, but it has thermal protection in it and it should shut down, but that never happened. Or, like I said, I just don't know. Either maybe the thermal protection failed and that caused the radio to fail, or I just don't know. But I enjoyed using the radio. Changing bands and just tuning around was super simple on that. I still have my KX2 as well. And the KX2 is a great radio, but I enjoyed the TX500 so much more. Yeah, it was just easier to use, in my opinion, and just made things more simple. And I have the 705 now, and it's a fantastic radio. Yeah, it is heavier than other radios, but when I compare the weights, really, a 705 with the internal battery is my KX2 with the side rails and everything on it. It isn't that much lighter. It's a little bit lighter, but not that much lighter than a 705. And the same with the TX500. The TX500, you have to have an external battery. There's no internal battery, so you take an external battery, and even with the small 3 amp Bioenno battery, it's still, the weight adds up. So it's it bound off, but I've had it at the 705 out for a couple of POTAs and some hiking already. Last weekend I carried the 705. I had about a 25 to 30 pound pack and hiked 11 miles.
So now, are you doing any sodas with it, or are you strictly like hiking and then the parks on the air stuff?
Yeah, just hiking and parks on the air. There's really not a lot of sodas here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I'm in Alabama. There's not.
Yeah, there's
It's
really
like
nothing
2 or
around
3
me.
maybe.
I was actually on a peak. Well, not a peak. I call them hills in Pennsylvania because they're under 3,000 feet.
Right.
So I don't think that's a mountain. But I was at 2665, and a gentleman in West Virginia called me and said he was on a soda, and he was lower than me. I was higher than his elevation. But when I checked the soda maps, and I couldn't find that peak on the soda as being a soda, so I just did a POTA from up there. But it was a great hike, though.
We'll be at Montesano. Well, that's where Steve is heading now. Most of us are staying at the state park out there, which is a soda and a POTA commingling.
Yeah.
They're sleeping together, whatever. So I have never done a POTA, never done a soda. I have a body for a drive up POTA, and soda is not going to happen. But that'll be my first. And the beauty of that is you can sit on your front porch at your cabin and do it. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's supposedly a really nice park. I have not been there. This will be my first time being to that park.
Yeah. Yeah, not everybody's going to go out and hike to do POTA, and I don't expect everybody to do it. Drive up POTAs, going into a park and sitting at the picnic table is fine. I do it with hiking because I like to be outdoors. I like to, for the past year, I've been working, trying to get as in the best shape that I can be. I was just looking at my stats, and since October last year, I've hiked or been on the treadmill for over 800 miles. So, but my wife, I got my wife into hiking, and she doesn't want to go for a hike if we're not going to do at least 10 miles.
Okay, that's serious.
Yeah,
That's
she's like,
serious.
you know,
I used to when I was younger, but I mean, I just don't anymore because I ain't got time or the willpower mostly. Don,
Yeah.
thank you. Don gets music. Appreciate it, Don. Woo! It's like 3 super chats this evening, man. I'm gonna have to buy
Awesome.
stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe have a giveaway a scope probe or something for hitting 1,000.
yeah.
Probe. Jim's gonna
Not
probe
a scope. I'll give you a probe.
Probe.
I'll give
He
you a
likes to
probe.
He
I ain't
talks
giving
about
you a scope.
probing all the time.
And it'll be one of them Amazon probes.
I get a little
Red,
uncomfortable sometimes
thank
in
you
the
for
chat.
showing up. Red mentioned dual POTA sodas are the best.
They
And I
are.
learned that last year. I was going to come to Huntsville last year, and I never made it because the whole thing. But that's pretty cool. Chuck, have you got a bunch of those out there? The duals? POTA soda?
Yeah, when we did Grand Canyon, we did a couple there. The year before, almost all the year before when we went to Yosemite, almost all the sodas were in the POTA area because it's POTA's it could be the whole forest, right? So any of those,
Yeah.
so that makes it easy. I usually just do the soda if I'm doing a soda, but sometimes I'll do both. I did a video with soda POTA, and shoot, it was like crazy, 85 contacts on about an hour. So
I'm
and I can't type, so
I'm going to channel my inner Don Izzo and use paper. I'm not going to try and keep up on a computer typing. I mean, I'm a computer guy, but I'm not going to type all that on a
you would
computer.
be all right with that, I'm sure, if I can do it.
I'm just going to document it on paper and catch it later. But Steve is bringing in a 705 and like 4 other radios. I'm going to bring a 2-meter setup. So look at him, and he's got a 6100, and he's got, I don't know, half of his house is now in his car at this point, his shack. But I'm bringing a mobile setup. And, that's right.
That's my problem. When I go on a camp trip or something like that, I have so much. I don't want to take just that radio. I want to try the 705, but I want to make sure I have power.
Right.
It's like
I stopped myself
I've got
last
all these
night.
boxes of stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, I get. I should just take the A57 and be done with it because I can do anything with that one, and it takes up no room.
I don't really have a Go
Chuck,
box
you're
per se
absolutely
anymore.
You're right. They don't make one good radio.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean the 705 comes really close. I have to, and you guys think I hate it, but I don't. But if it had been a little smaller, a little lighter, it had a tuner built in, that thing would be like pretty dang perfect. I have to tell you, man, when I did my video, I'm fixing my 991. I had two different mics hooked up for each radio, and I have to say the 705 sounds really, really good. It really does. It's one of the better sounding radios with the stock speaker.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have sounded that good up on top, and that is part of the problem with some radios. If you can put a little cup something, or you cup your hand over the top, a speaker on the top sounds way better also.
Yeah, I have a 2-meter that has the cardboard fin angled so it deflects the sound back because it does. It sounds so much better.
Right.
It does.
But yeah, I've been really happy with the 705 and the front speaker. I work from home, and during the day I'll be working on something, and everybody knows you're working on a project. You run a report or do something, wait for something to kapow, and you're sitting there for 5 or 10 minutes. I'll flick the radio on and just spin through the dial and see who's on, check for a POTA, and try to make a couple of POTA contacts during the day or something.
I have done some chasing. I mean, I didn't know it was called chasing. That sounds kind of creepy, but
yeah.
There's been days I'm like on a Saturday usually where I will get on the POTA website and see who's out there spotted, and then I'll go find them and do a QSO. Steve and I talked about this one time, and I think he's kind of similar. We don't like talking on the radio a whole lot. I don't want to get into a 20-minute rag chew and discuss your cats, your dogs, your gout, and I don't. I mean, like, Hey, it's great we made a contact. Deuces, man, I'm out, and that's it.
Yeah,
And so that's what's really cool about POTA guys is they moving it right along, moving it right along.
If the POTA person isn't busy, sometimes I'll ask them. If I'm hunting, sometimes I'll ask them what antenna they're using, just because I'm curious. And
Right.
sometimes when I'm doing a POTA, if it's not a big pal up and somebody contacts me, you know, I'll give them a little more information. I'll tell them what radio, what antenna I'm using, that kind of stuff, you know. But
Steven, thank you very much. Ooh, a lot of dancing tonight. Come on, Chuck. Do it, Chuck.
I'd like to hear a little
Look at
music,
that.
but-
Look at Tom. Tom's doing some robot.
Oh,
I'm just
yeah,
doing like
roboto.
70s disco leftover stuff. I need
Mr.
better
Roboto.
Superfly.
So, you know, Ape's he's a A57 hater. He hates the small screen, but I can't wait till Yaesu replaces
The
it.
zebra screen.
Yeah, the zebra screen. You know, mine's never done the zebra screen.
yeah,
I don't leave mine in my truck though, and I think that a lot of people have problems because they left them in their cars.
yeah.
How old is that radio? Is that like a 90s model?
Oh, geez,
It was out a while. It was an A57, then an A57D, and mine's a D model, which was the newer.
I mean, that's an
I've had mine
LCD
6
screen.
years, 7 years.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, I had
It's a problem
mine-
with the. It's a problem with the where it connects and it melts. Supposedly, you can fix it with a hairdryer half the time.
Okay.
Yeah, my E57 was great. I used I had both filters in it. I had a CW filter, and then I had a another one of the and I think I got
Collins.
them from NRAD.
Yeah,
they were one of
NRAD. It's Collins
NRAD
filters.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a great radio. I just never used it. Once I got an 817, I never used the 857 again.
Yeah,
You know?
because you're a QRP guy. Oh, you have an 817 too.
Yeah, I did.
I actually like that radio. To tell you the truth.
It is. It's a great radio. If you're looking to get, if you're just interested in single sideband QRP, the 817, 818 is a great radio. I would recommend getting a filter for it. But once you do that, I mean, you're going to pay a fortune, you know, what, $200 for a filter in it?
Yeah.
So that adds to the cost right there. That radio, the nickel battery that comes in it isn't that great. So most
There's better
people
ones out
upgrade, right away. There's a lot of upgrades that people do right away. And when you look at that, it's like, okay, well, there's some other radios that are a little more expensive that you can get for about the same amount of money. You know,
I'm thinking about selling my 705 and buying two 818s.
I still am trying to process that you actually bought a 705. I mean, and I want to say this, and Chuck, you're not going to believe this, but I will say that I think Yaesu has quite a history and an interesting line of that form factor radio, the 857s, the 891s, I can't remember all the model numbers. And I think that's really cool. Not that I can remember, but I don't think Icom has a lot of HF form factor, mobile form factor style radios like that. I mean, the 706.
Well, it stopped with
it's
the
about the only one I
7000.
can think
They went to
of.
the 7100, and that's a different
That's
type
not-
of radio.
70, 7,000.
7000 was their last
Yeah.
radio like
They're all
that.
the same radio.
And the
Yeah, the screen's
7100, I'm sorry, Icom gods. I hate the screen on the thing. The screen is hot garbage. I mean, it's like the 5100. It's an interesting concept, but I don't know. I just never warmed up to the way that screen looked. And I've had a 5100, and I used it in the house, in the shack, and I sold it. Yep. But I can't imagine using something like a 5100 or 7100 in the car. I'm a Yaesu
Now
fanboy
you
when
want
it
it
comes to
back.
the FTM 400. Only because it does full frontal duplex, which I didn't really know at the time. That's the story I hear. I don't know. But I've got an FTM 400, and I love it. It's a great radio. It's awesome.
Yeah, if Yaesu would have come out with something, if Yaesu would have had something, I probably would have definitely considered it. I mean, even before I bought the TX500, I kept waiting for Yaesu to come out with something, new, something updated. And
To compete with the 705.
yeah, and
Yeah.
They will.
the TX500 doesn't have UHF VHF. The 705 does. I'll probably very rarely ever use it, but it's nice to have in case you want it. You know what I mean? So now, like other times, if I went on a trip, I'd take the TX500 and I'd take a handheld and maybe a portable radio, And now, if we go on vacation or something, I'm just going to grab the 705 or roll up J-Pool and whatever HF antenna I want to take and go.
Mm-hmm. So you talked to Scout a couple weeks ago, apparently.
Yeah,
On a POTA.
yeah, I hunt everybody. So I try to hunt everybody I can. So yeah, Scout. Who else did I talk to? I talked to Jim. Trying to think. Yeah, I just got a QSO card from KE8PZN Jim James.
Okay.
And, yeah,
James. Yeah.
James.
LC, if I was talking about the 7100, it's not garbage. The screen. I hate the screen. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said,
like
I do digital modes, WinLink and stuff, and with the 705, man, having the USB cable, that one cable, and connecting and being all set, it's
See,
Right.
that's the thing with me. I'm not a big digital or FT8 fan, so that means nothing to me, really.
yeah,
I mean, I do it because I can, but
yeah.
I think the 705 is a beautiful radio. I love the screen on it. And I think Icom did a super good job by putting 2 meter and 440 in there as well. The one thing that stopped me from jumping on the 705 bandwagon, Tom, I apologize, was that it wasn't 100 watts and kind of the tuner. And I could live with the tuner, but the 100 watts is like, man, why would you do that? If you put, Yaesu's got the 891, which is like a reference radio for mobile 100-watt radios. And Icom makes what is cosmetically a gorgeous radio with a lot of excellent features in it. And then they I think, cripple it with the power rating.
Yeah.
But they didn't consult with
they
me,
already had
so.
the 7300, so I mean,
Yeah, but
the
it's
705 is an 818 killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
barely. It's a killer.
Yeah, I mean,
you say that?
I love QRP, but it's not for everybody. The one guy in our club, he lives in an HOA, is usually using a compromised antenna. QRP isn't going to work for him. It's
I think
you gotta do what you
Don's.
can
I
do.
think Don's fishing there.
Don is being
He's-
Don. Yeah.
He's fishing you, man.
Whoop, whoop. He is $1.
We call him Dollar Bill, Dollar Don.
Yeah. $1 Don. Oh my Lord. An ape is ape.
See, I when I did the 991, I looked at the 7100, but just, I don't know. I thought that if you're going to carry two pieces, you might as well just carry one. And although I would like that if the 991 screen came off, that would be an awesome in the vehicle rig.
Yes. The 991 is a great radio.
I can mount it in my truck with no problem. To tell you the truth. I
Yeah.
think I might one of these days. I got the mount for it.
If it had a detachable screen that was half as good as an Icom radio, it would be awesome.
Yeah, the screen's not as nice as the 705. It's smaller. To tell you the truth.
He said it. He said it.
But you know
Out
what?
loud
I
with
don't-
his words.
I don't sit there and stare at the screen. It's like the only thing I use that screen for is looking for a contact or something. Because it does. But I can do that on any. I mean, shoot, my A57 has that, but I never use it.
Right.
It's not very good. It's not very good. I don't know. Did the 7000 actually have that? The scope on it?
Don has a 7000.
706.
Don, does your 7000 have a scope on it?
I don't
If
think
the
so.
706 has one, and I've got a 706 that I bought from somebody, it has that prehistoric Icom LCD scope. It's not.
The sweep, not the scope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't look at the 7100 as quite mobile, but it actually isn't a bad mobile setup with that head the way it angles. Depending on where
Right.
you put it.
No scope on the 7000.
My buddy Gary
okay.
put one in his truck. He used to have a 7000.
Ape, I don't know if that means you regret the one radio. He should have bought them 4 radios, I guess.
The one he regrets is all 4 of those.
Right.
Yeah.
I want a 90. I want a
must be
9700
Miller
so
time.
bad I can taste it. That's probably coming
And a
soon. I think
500
that'll
watt
be.
amp.
No. Carlos trying to sell me that amp. No.
Oh, really? What amp was
Oh,
that?
Carlos
Oh, it's
has
like
a
220
Heath
or
kit.
Heath kit, yeah.
I can't remember the model.
It's a
on
tube.
It. It's a tube. It's a tube amp.
202 or I forget what they are. 200.
SB2 something.
That seems right.
Something.
Yeah. And
Those are good old amps. I mean, basically the amp that the TO has is basically copied from that, I think.
Yeah.
And then same with the one I have is copied from the one with the 500. Well, actually, I had two 500s, and Meritron actually got the same power out of it with just one. So that's kind of cool. And mine does not heat the room.
Mine does.
Well, I was going to say that one Steve's got probably does. And if he ever fires up that oscilloscope at the same time, Wisconsin Power is probably coming to look why the meter's spinning so fast. But now, Tom, are you running? You don't run an amp or anything when you're portable. You're strictly QRP.
Yep.
Now, do you QRP at home as well, or just you're mostly doing your radio stuff out?
I use the same radio at home as I do it on portable. So when I'm at home, whatever radio, like when I had the TX500, that was my main radio, and like now the 705 is my main radio at home as well.
Now, what are you running for an antenna there?
I have
the house.
2 NFEDs. One's up about 40 feet. It's a flat top, so it's fed at 40 feet and goes out to another tree, maybe a little bit higher on the other end, maybe 50 or 60 on the other end. And then I have another one that's facing, that one goes north to south, and I have another one that's in an inverted L going east to west.
Okay.
And it does make a difference sometimes, depending on what band and what frequency and where the person is. I have a little, I have a switch box, and I'll switch, and it'll make a difference. So
now are those cut for? If you said it, I missed it. Are those cut for 40 or 80 meters? Your antennas
up to 80.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
No tuner.
Seems like no tuner. That seems like a pretty good way to do it. If you've got the real estate to set up and the trees to set up something like that, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. The only thing I did on my NFED that's running north to south is halfway down the antenna, I cut the wire and I put in a capacitor just to bring the higher end of 80 into tune for voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a very cool setup.
Yeah, it's the same antenna I've had forever. I built it with the club. My club had a build. We built 49-to-1s, and that antenna's worked great. When I do POTA, I've been using an NFED, but I'm actually looking at going back to using a dipole, for some of the POTAs. QRP, even when I do testing at home, I've done testing with an NFED and the dipole, and the dipole's always just a little bit louder and always seems to be a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go back to my linked dipole, which I do use. I was using religiously. And then I switched because just the NFED's a little bit easier. But I think I'm going to go back to the dipole. And the last activation I did, I didn't think of this before I went, but I went and I was on top of that. It's called a Sugarloaf Knob, and it is solid rock and sand. I couldn't get my trekking pole in the ground because I have my camera mounted on a trekking pole. I couldn't get it to stick in the ground close to me. I had to lean it against the tree because it literally wouldn't go in the ground a half inch. And I struggled with that. That was one of the first POTAs that I really struggled. And I think it's because of the poor ground reflection, radiation. And I was thinking, you know what, maybe I should have had, because I just ran an NFED. I didn't run a radio on my NFED. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I should run a dipole.
The Smoking Ape wants you to run a radio always, at least one.
With a wire on the ground.
Yeah.
As a reflector on
So that's interesting. I wonder what kind of, did you notice what kind of rock it was? So it's probably not something that's ferrous. Is it like sandstone or limestone or something like that?
Yeah, it's all glacier rock up there. Although, and I don't know what that's made out of. But
yeah, I have expounded all my geology knowledge right there.
It's but yeah, it was the soil up there. I mean, it was just so sandy and rocky. Like I said, I was sticking my trekking pole into the ground trying to find a place for it to stick, and and it literally was like chunk, chunk, chunk everywhere I went. It just would not penetrate. So I was like, Yeah, it's and I've tried counterpoises at home on my NFEDs, and it doesn't seem to change the SWR at all. You know, it didn't seem to make a difference on a 49-1. I've tried all kinds of different lengths of counterpoise, and it never really seemed to make a difference. So I never used one on my 49-1. But I think in that instance, because of the poor soil, I think I probably should have.
Well, the thing about counterpoise is, aside from a certain primate's almost religious fixation with counterpoises, it's one of those things that doesn't hurt. It may not do anything for you, but it isn't gonna harsh your buzz any, right?
It's laying on the ground, you might trip over it,
and you could bust a hip, right? I know, but it's not generally going to hurt anything, short of you falling over it, right? Which is always a possibility with me as well.
Speaking of infed halfways, our new one's coming out pretty soon. I gotta check, but I think I have all the parts for at least 100.
We got a whole bunch of fancy toroids in the warehouse.
I got more than toroids.
This is your higher power one?
We haven't done the higher power one yet. I have, but we haven't. I got a feeling that the process that we use for the printing of the actual winder is going to be really expensive on that big one, because it's a lot bigger. I don't think I have it in here, but it's. But I did use it. I used that one at Grand Canyon. It worked well, but I wasn't. Let's see. I ran 100 watts, but the other one does 100 watts. So we can do 100 with our small. And the new one's going to be called the Apollo.
What's the difference between that and the old one?
The winder's way. We had Thump go over our last design on the winder and just make it look so much better. And we've tweaked it here and there on each build.
That was what I was going to say. We've tweaked it.
So all of our antennas come off the same. So far, we have the linked and the infed half wave. They all come off the same winder, so we don't have multiple winders. So it may have holes in it you don't use for your antenna build, but it's for something else. Or you could technically set it up.
Yeah.
What's that?
Utility.
Utility. Yeah.
Car XP.
And we've got a couple more coming out. I want to do. I kind of mentioned in my last video. I kind of want to do a doublet antenna, but that'll be for people that have tuners, and it'll take a good tuner. You can't do it with a 3-to-1.
Yeah.
Best antenna ever.
What's that?
I said best antenna ever.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
we have put. I want to say my piece of the operation on the antenna setup is the back end technical website stuff. Ape and Steve and Chuck have put a lot of effort into designing and tweaking the setup on it, the winder. I was sitting there during the winder discussions going, okay, is it plastic and it holds wire? It's all fabulous. Let's move on. And they spent a lot of time working on it, and I'm really proud of what came out of it. It's a good job. So there's a lot of pondering over wires and toroids and the whole thing. They spent a minute working on it. I don't know if Tom's
seen it, but this is the new. Let me actually hang on.
That's the new one.
Is that the official one or the doctored one, Chuck, from the batch that we bought?
Oh, it's
We've been playing with different production. Yeah, but he had to.
I don't have the official ones.
Right?
This is the official shape. Like, here's our original design.
Yeah,
it is nice. It's a little bit smaller.
Chuck, I'm going to make you full screen there, buddy.
Oh, let me show. And this is not. This was out of ABS when I just printed myself, so it's not as nice as the ones we sell. And then we had these printed. We're looking at a different material that's more waterproof and a little bit better in the sun and stuff for the UV rays.
Yeah, it looks like you go deeper on the ends too.
It didn't pass our test of the quality of the looks of it. Let me go grab one real quick. If you guys keep talking, and I'll grab one of the ones.
We'll talk amongst ourselves.
Go ahead and talk about me. I don't care.
Yeah. Don't care if you care.
Rob Ferguson's asking a technical question here, and I'm not sure why it wouldn't. Would an
What's the question? I can't
LDG?
read it.
I'm fixing to read it. That's Southern for hold on, I'm doing it. Would an LDG IT100 work for a doublet? And I mean, it's a tuner as far as I know. I don't remember that model specifically, but right? A tuner's a tuner.
I would think most of the LDGs work. They're usually pretty high as far as what they can handle.
Yeah, you're going to need a 10 to 1 or better. That's all.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work, then we start to make toroids for you and transform the impedance from the doublet down to something that your tuner can work with. So
Right.
the short answer is yes. The longer answer is you might have to ham harder.
Yeah.
So
What do we think the impedance would be? I mean, would it be, well, we don't really know yet, but you think it would be
it
higher
depends
than
on the
like
band.
3,500?
Like the G90 that can tune anything can tune my doublet on everything except for 160.
Okay.
Yeah, that's normal.
There's not a
How
match
big
there,
is-
so I want to figure out the match.
So
Okay.
this is the new winder that we sold these on the link dipole. So it just there's no winder out there that's as nice as this that's been printed.
Yeah.
Now, and that
I
is
guarantee it. And it's the-
Chuck's
it's the
calling that
material,
printed.
sorry.
That's not FDM 3D printed. That's
No, it's,
multi-jet fusion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's layers, so it's 100%, and we are working. One reason we haven't released the Apollo is we're working on it to, they usually get 10, 15, 20. What's the bands? 10, 15, 20
On a 40-meter wire, you're getting
on 40. Excuse me, I missed 40.
40,
But we're
40,
gonna
20,
try and
30, 15, something like that. 10.
30, and so we're gonna try and add a couple bands to it, and I've got a way of doing it.
40, 20, 15, and 10.
What's that?
Yeah, 20, 15, and 10, not 30.
Yeah, 40, 20, 15, and 10. And we're going to try and add 15 or 17 and 30 to it. And I think we can do it. I just have to, this one's going to get built for it. And we'll tell later how that's going to happen. But it may
Kevin,
be an option.
We aren't going to call it the Ape Apollo, although that's an interesting marketing thing there. I'm just saying.
The Apollo, yeah. We did have an ape hanger antenna that's going to be for the kids, if we ever get it designed out right. My design was so.
So we got a lot of things. Those guys have, we've put a lot of work into it, and it's interesting. There's a whole lot more than some wire and a piece of plastic to get this whole little thing moving forward in a pretty greased direction. And then this last one, Chuck is Chuck is production and shipping, and Steve and Ape are like senior management. They just make judgments and tell us things and
Tell me I can't do something.
I'm very
that
judgy.
kind of stuff.
right, all judgy and whatnot.
Yep.
I'm the IT department and sales and marketing.
Steve is buying the stuff for it and sending it to my house. I go, have some of these sent to my house. He goes, what for? He questions me. I go, because I got an idea. Just send them to my house.
We're going to dock your pay if it doesn't, Chuck.
Yeah, I've got it actually set in here, but I don't want to show that part yet.
The only problem I have is everybody needs to have more stock. You guys are always out.
Well,
it's kind of
when
like
you first-
with KM4ACK. I get stock notice, when his antennas come back in stock.
right.
And if you don't do it the instant you see that email, I'll go and check it like 5 or 10 minutes later, and it's all out. It's all gone again.
Right.
It's like
Right.
they're impossible to get. And
What we've done in the past, the last couple batches, and I think we're up in the game on the Apollo, right, Chuck? We've had 50-ish to sell.
Yeah.
And the
we
biggest
didn't
thing
have
that
them
helped,
ready early enough. That was part of the problem.
yeah. The first run, the initial run, we were taking orders through Discord and emails and messages and whatnot, and it was way complicated. So we got a Icom website set up and got that process fixed, and then the guys started getting the antennas built together so they were ready to ship, and then it was a matter of, hey guys, we just got an order. I'm producing shipping labels and sending them to whoever has got them. Steve had some of them, Chuck has the rest, and pumping them out. So we're still in like a batch of 50.
Yeah.
And not playing the game so far of a wait list, because that gets complicated and just untenable.
Yeah.
So I think this next batch, and this is what I was asking you, Charles, are we not going to like 100 on the Apollo? Was that the plan? Was 100?
We've got 100 winders.
Oh, okay. So we may not drop 100 Apollos.
Actually, we have 104 winders, I think, 105 winders.
Yeah.
We are sold out of everything right now. We don't have nothing.
Well,
Not one.
I have 4 Apollos, but we're kind of waiting on the other band part of it. So I haven't had a chance to do that yet.
Well, those are R&D Apollos, right? Is that what that is? Research and development. Those are not.
They're packed ready to sell. But
do you want me to put them on the website? Because I've told everybody we're out.
Because I think we're gonna. Well, I think with this one we're gonna try and offer the other stuff. So I hate to sell 4 or 5 of them and then find out that we do something different.
Yeah.
We'll talk.
Okay.
If you guys need
Okay.
something, you let me know on Discord. We'll hook you up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I have a few made.
I just made a judgment.
See, told you.
Oh, one of the other improvements we made. Let me grab this. But if you look at this, some people thought it was a little hard to grab the BNC, so we have a little curve versus.
Oh, boxing it in.
Oh shoot! I gotta figure out where I'm at here. See how that one's straight down? So we put a little curve, so it's a little easier to get it on and off. I didn't have any problems. The original design was real easy to get on and off, but I got vetoed on that one because Ape didn't think
He's not bitter at all, though.
No, not at all.
He never brings it up. Very
Because
mature.
mine's been working for over a year now and never broke. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But I'm not hard and stuff. So. It
Tom,
just
how
was
would you
easier.
describe your YouTube channel for those who haven't visited? Charlie's asking.
Well, I would say it's mostly QRP, POTA, but I do just some other homesteading stuff around the house here. In fact, I'm just about, it's all scheduled. I'm building a off-grid battery system for my house.
Very cool.
And I've actually shot video, but I haven't released anything yet, but I have 4 48-volt 100 amp batteries.
Wow.
The EG4s.
Are those what kind of chemistry are those?
They're LiPos.
LiPos? Okay.
Yeah, they're the LiPo. And I have a 12 kilowatt inverter.
Sweet.
It
Baby
weighs
Christmas.
130 pounds. But it's all getting wired into the house. I just scheduled the power company to come out and do a temporary disconnect on my house so we can hook everything up, because we have to go out to the meter. I have to put in a 200 amp manual transfer switch. And it's taken so long. I ordered the batteries like months ago, but getting some of the components like the 200 amp or 4-aught service line for your house, there's a nationwide shortage of that.
Yeah.
You can't go to Home Depot and find it. A lot of the suppliers can't find it. So I had to track down just wiring components and stuff to be able to build the system. And I have everything now. And like I said, it just got scheduled. I already have the space on the wall. I had to put up heavy duty plywood and anchor it real well, because like I said, it's got to hold 130 pound inverter. And then there's fireboard on top of that. And it's been a lot of work, but we're doing it because we lose power a lot in the wintertime, but usually it's for less than a day. And right now we have a gas generator that we have to wheel outside and plug it into the house and do all that stuff. And it's a pain.
That's what I've got. I've got a transfer and all that, but it's a roll the generator out and plug it in.
Yeah. And so we tried to get a propane generator, a whole house propane one. I called Generac directly. I called people in the area that sold Generac. Generac put me in touch with this sales guy, and basically I kept getting told that they were so back ordered that they wouldn't even come out and give me a quote.
Wow.
They're like, "Oh, we're back ordered for like years." And I'm like, "Well, fine. Get me on the list. Come out. Let's do the quote. Let's figure it out." No, we're going to, not do it. So I started pricing out the batteries. I watch Will Prowse videos
Yeah.
and everything. I started
Yeah.
pricing out the
Smart kid.
everything, and I said, you know what? I can build a batteries backup system for about the same cost as a whole house generator. Granted, it's only going to power the house for a couple of days, all the critical stuff, but I'll never have to buy propane. And now that they are waiving the import fees or taxes, whatever, on solar panels coming into the country, solar panel prices are starting to drop again. So I plan on getting a few, 400 watt solar panels, and I have a field next to the house. I can put them out there, and but right first is just getting the batteries installed and make sure that all works with the inverter. I've tested it so far, and so far I haven't noticed any noise with the inverter. So I'll be curious when it's under heavy load and see what happens.
How well it works. That's an interesting idea. I have we had the house rewired. I live in like a 60-year-old house, and we had it rewired several years ago.
Yeah.
And when we had the electrician do the rewiring and get rid of the aluminum wire that's mixed in with the copper wire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was special. We had him put in a panel. So I've got a transfer panel and all that, and I've got a disconnect outside to use the pigtail to plug the generator in. But I've still got a gas generator. I want to get at least a multi-fuel one, so I could use propane because I got propane barbecue tanks. Well, actually LP gas barbecue tanks.
Yeah.
And we have LP gas heat, so I would like to get it where I could, tap off of the main tank.
Yeah.
And kind of run a deal. But the batteries would be a good backup as well. What, Steve? I'm sorry?
That was my plan, was to run my generator off of my 500-gallon propane tank.
Yeah. That's what I want to do. So I want to get like a multi-fuel or just a propane only one or LP only one.
Yeah. So
but have the batteries as a supplement or to supplement the batteries rather.
When we built our house, we thought about putting in propane, and we decided against it. So our house is 100% electric. There's no other utilities up here besides electric. If we lose power, that means my well pump doesn't run. But when I was thought about doing the battery system, the first thing I bought it's called Sense Home, SENSE, and you clamp it onto the mains coming into your house, and it basically tracks all your power usage and tells you what you're using, so you can figure out what you need, and what if I buy this many batteries, how long is that going to last? So I did that, and then like I said, I spent the money for that. That's not cheap, but that really gave me the assurance that I can run 4 batteries, and it's going to give me enough power for maybe 2 or 3 days.
Now, what do those batteries run you? Do you remember?
I want to say
1,500, 2,000 a piece?
Yeah, it was like 1,500 a piece. Yeah.
But 48 volt batteries, 48 volt, 200 amp hour?
100.
Is that what you said? 100. And you bought 4 of them, so you got 400 amp hours at 48 volts, which you can step down anyway or step up as appropriate.
And the inverter I bought is it's an upgraded inverter, so I don't have to. A lot of inverters, when you put your solar panels outside, the inverter can only handle so much voltage. So you have to combine the voltage in parallel outside on your panels before you bring it into the house. Well, this one I can hook them
I run
on
my solar
series.
panels in the house. I don't have that problem.
Yeah, so I could hook up a bunch of solar panels, run them in series, and bring a high voltage line into the house to run the.
So it's an inverter or a controller?
It's an all-in-one.
Both. All-in-one.
It's
all of the
massive.
above.
Like I said, it's 130 pounds.
Oh.
Wi-Fi enabled, all that.
Oh, hell yeah!
Fancy stuff.
Oh, now you get somebody's attention.
But yeah, the batteries are all interconnected. They all communicate with each other. They can communicate with the inverter, and it's all computer controlled. And Will Prowse does a great job. It's the same batteries that Will Prowse has used on his channel, and it really is easy if you're just hooking up an off-grid system and not connecting it into your own home. But once you want to connect it into your house and hook it up to your current panels, that's when all the design work came in, and I mean, I contacted an electrical inspector and had him come out. I had to wait for him to be in the area because he's actually not from this area, but he's contracted by my township to do the electrical inspections here. And he said, well, I'll stop by and we can discuss it, because I didn't want to start doing something if it wasn't going to pass inspection.
Right. You want to make sure you're going down the right road before you started spending money.
Because he's told me that he's seen some horrible, he's seen some ones where he went to do the inspection and the guy had like AGM lead acid batteries sitting on the floor in his basement with no ventilation or anything, and like horrible wiring and stuff. And I showed him my batteries. My batteries are housed in a big computer rack, that's locked, so you can't get in and accidentally like brush up against the terminal leads. And told him my plan, showed him everything, and he was like, "You're doing everything perfect." He's like, he goes, "You do it the way you have it planned out," and he said, "I'll stamp that in a heartbeat." So
excellent.
I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully all this hard work is going to pay off.
We had a couple questions, and it's 8:07. We're already kind of over, but we're on a roll. Where are your solar panels located? Are they on the ground or are they on the roof of your house? How do you de-snow them? Because I know there'd be snow in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I have one little solar panel up on the house that runs my shack. And since I run QRP, I have a little 50-watt solar panel up on the roof. And I wouldn't do that again because, yes, not only do you have to clean it every once in a while, so I got to go up on the roof and do that.
Right.
But you have to change the angle depending on what season you're in,
what time of year it is. Sure enough.
Yeah.
I didn't
So
think about that.
when I get these larger panels, they're going to be pole mounted in a field next to my house where I can just go out with a squeegee and wipe them off.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never had snow build up on the panel that's on the roof. That's on my roof. I've never had, because of the angle and the angle that it's at.
Color.
And the color, they would absorb heat.
Every time I look up there, I mean, there may be snow on it for a little bit, and then it's gone by, as soon as we get any sun at all. So that hasn't been a problem. But even so, I've gone up there after a couple of months, and with the Windex and paper towels, and it's filthy, and you can definitely notice a difference.
I had a weather center mounted on my carport, and it was a solar powered weather thing. Yeah, and I'd have to wipe off that solar panel every so often because it would be just random outdoor weather goo. And apparently bugs that decided they wanted to die by, smashing into it or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that would be my concern with solar panels. You'd have to clean the darn things every so often.
They're going to be, I have an area of our yard. We don't use it for anything other than mowing. That's all I do with it. So I'm just going to, and it's on a hillside and there's no trees. Like in that area, it's pretty clear. It gets great sun all day long. And I'm just going to put them up there to where I can, like I said, just walk out with a squeegee and just, like a long painter's pull squeegee, just squeegee them off every once in a while. So.
Right.
How many panels do you think you're going to have?
Well, our base draw on average is only like 400 watts, just with lights and refrigerators and stuff. I'm sorry, Steve?
That's nothing. That's not a whole lot of draw.
Yeah, but we have a electric water heater that kicks on for like 5 minutes every so often. It draws about 3,000 watts when it's running, and our water pump when it kicks on for about 30 seconds, and it's about 2,500 watts.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate it, buddy.
You said you had a 2,000 watt inverter. That's not enough, though.
No, 12 kilowatt.
Am I the only one, Dave?
Oh, that's right.
I was, but
it's
couldn't hear the
one.
music.
Yeah,
your music's not working.
As far as I know, it's the biggest one you can buy.
Thanks, Don's. Looks.
In a single
now I
unit.
remember you saying that.
Yeah, you can buy smaller ones and stack them, but I just went with the one single unit. And the house will still be on that transfer switch. So if I need to do maintenance on the inverter or something happens to it, I can switch back over to grid. So.
You're going to be all the time, and then on grid when you need to do maintenance.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Awesome.
So, and that's for half the house. That's not for some of. We have our furnace is a heat pump. It draws so much power you can't run it off battery. You can't even run it off a generator.
Right.
You need a massive unit. So I have two 200 amp panels in the house, and they're separated. I have all the critical loads on one and the regular ones on the other.
So Don is asking, how far away are you from the inverter?
For the batteries will be right next to the inverter. Indoor, they're safe. They're rated for indoor use. The solar panels will be 50 feet. So.
Okay.
Yeah, once you come from the inverter, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
It's just your wiring from the house.
Yeah, and from the inverter to my panel that it's going to be feeding is like 3 feet.
Oh,
So,
yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said,
concern.
I've had the electrical inspector go all over all the gauges of wire that I'm using, and he's given me the thumbs up on everything. So he's pretty happy.
That's good.
So.
Well, the big thing is the transfer, right?
Yeah, and that was an unexpected expense. The transfer panel, the 200 amp manual transfer panel, was over $600.
Yes. Yeah, mine was like $650, $680.
Oh, it's
and I have a
manual also?
manual. Yeah, I have a manual transfer
It's just
panel.
a giant switch.
See, I don't think we can do. I think ours has to be automatic, and if you're tying into the grid, because we're in a regular area.
We have electricity in Alabama too, Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm
you
not-
guys are using a mouse to run those little wheels.
I'm not pedaling, man. I'm sitting here.
No, you hire mice for that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
No, but if you tie into the grid here, it has to be an automatic. If the power goes out,
I'm not feeding back into the grid.
okay.
Mine's not
See,
grid
ours
tied.
that would be
completely
feeding back
separate.
into the grid.
Yeah, once
It
I
has to
throw
be
that
automatic.
switch, that whole panel is off grid, and that was that the manual one was actually a requirement because then there's no chance of that being energized and accidentally feeding back into the grid and zapping some lineman out on the poles.
Right.
Right. That's the whole
Now
thing.
we have our transfer panel. I've had two of them. We had at the fire station, we had a manual transfer panel, and it was a switch. So we would throw that, and then we had a propane or LP gas generator at the station. And then here at the house, when we got that put in, I don't have a big red switch. I have multiple switches, so I have one to disconnect the electric from the grid so I don't feed back. There's
Yeah.
a switch for that.
Yeah.
But then the panel we have is also kind of, and I think it's a Generac panel. And it has multiple switches, so I don't have to feed the whole entire house. I can just kind of, and it's the way our electrician set it up, it's kind of isolated by function.
Yeah.
So I can turn on the stuff where my fridge is and, the kitchen, so we could run a microwave and a fridge, etc., and stuff like that, too.
Yeah, we have a small one of those now, and we're still going to have that available. That if we drain the batteries and there's no grid power and we don't have any solar, that I can still hook up my gas generator to power to recharge the batteries if needed. So the gas generator will stay as a emergency backup to everything else, just redundant layers on layers. Because we have had power outages that have lasted longer than 3 days. That last ice storm, the ice storm we had this winter, was horrendous. So just trying to build in some redundancy into the system. But
Right.
with the battery system, if the power goes out, for the most part, we won't notice it other than the furnace goes out. But in the wintertime, we heat the house with wood, constantly anyhow. So,
I got a buddy who's got a wood stove, and that thing is like, it's like having his own reactor in his living room, because that thing is just that house is so stinking hot, it'd kill me. I'm allergic to that much heat, but his wood stove is awesome.
Yep.
So
we use it constantly. So
yeah, that's a good setup. Now and being in Pennsylvania, you get a lot of snow and real winter up there. Here, I'm in Montgomery, Alabama area, and it snows. I've lived here since 1985, and it's snow on the ground that was here for more than an hour, probably 5 times in that long. I can't math. 38 years, something like that. 37 years.
yeah.
Don't
So we
math
don't
on
get snow.
street.
Right. So we don't get snow that often, so that's not really too much of a concern, except usually the power goes out when it snows.
Yeah.
But we do get hurricane weather every so often, and I've been through several. Opal was probably the worst one that's made it to Montgomery. And yeah, we were lucky, and there's different. I'm on an electric cooperative out in the county, and then there's Alabama Power, which is like literally a half a mile down the road from my house. So there's 2 or 3 different electric companies in the same small area. But there were people without power here for like 3 weeks in October during Opal in 1995. And I mean, it ain't cool here in October at all. It's not quite as hot, but it ain't cold.
Yeah. See, in the summertime, we wouldn't be able. We wouldn't be able to run our air conditioner.
Can't run the air conditioner.
But because our house, the basement level is buried into the hillside. Basically, it's a ranch with a downstairs walkout. The downstairs actually stays pretty cool, so we'd be okay.
Yeah.
We'd be able to run a fan, and we wouldn't be super comfortable, but it wouldn't be that bad for us.
Right. Humidity is usually what would get you before the heat will even usually. Yeah.
When we built our house, our house was built with the reward wall system. That's the foam blocks that they stack and lock together, and then they fill with concrete. And even in the middle of winter, you go down and touch the wall, and the wall isn't cold. So the insulation on the house is real good. If you go up in my attic, there's like 2 feet of blown insulation up there. So we had the house completely sealed as far as like drafts and stuff goes. So we tried to be as energy efficient as we can, and so we're hoping we get set up. We lose power in the summertime. It'll be a sunny day, but if the wind blows, if we get some wind, a tree's going to fall on a power line somewhere. We live out in the country,
we get the same thing.
Yeah.
And half of my fire department career was. And by the way, if you had fire department selected on your bingo card tonight, you got that and Moxon. So 2 of the things. Steve always messes with Chuck and I about those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of trees, and a lot of my fire department career was cutting trees out of the road and telling the county, it's on a power line. You need to get the grown-ups out here. We're not going to mess with that.
Yeah, that's just it. When that ice storm hit, I was on my ATV, the chainsaw, up on the road, clearing the trees down to the one that was on the power line, because there were 6 or 7 even before you got to where it was down. And I'm like, hey, usually my neighbors come out, we all help each other out. It's like, if we can clear it down to there, that just makes their job that much easier.
And your fire department loves you for that, and so does your power company.
Yeah.
I don't know about where you guys were. I'm in the county out here, and so it's all volunteer fire departments in the county. Montgomery City is a paid department, but
it's the same out here.
We get called. Pennsylvania is a huge volunteer fire state. We get called for trees down, and they call us for power lines and tree involvement, and we usually just sit around and mope until the power company showed up.
Yeah,
and then let them handle it. But
we live pretty rural, and we know that if the power company can fix a line that's going to restore power to 1,000 people, they're going to do that before they come to my street and fix a power line that's going to restore power to 3 people.
To 3 houses.
3 houses. Yeah. So we know we're on the bottom of the list. And I've always wanted. I never want to be that burden on that system, to where if something's wrong, I can at least go a few days and give them time to get caught up. And that's why I go and check on the neighbors as well. My one next door, the one neighbor, I think she's on oxygen. They're both widows. They're both older. In the wintertime, I'm over there. Every time we get a snow, I'm over there with the snow blower, plowing their driveways or something, helping them out. And that's just my philosophy on life, is, do what you can for your neighbors. It'll get paid back to you,
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of the fire biz, because you got to be certified batshit crazy, and I said it, to be in the fire department and to be a volunteer. Swear jar. And to be in the volunteer fire service, Chuck was in longer than I was. Chuck's got over 30 years, and I stopped at 27, but
I was a short timer. I was a firefighter and an EMT for about 8 years.
Dude, we appreciate it. Yeah, 27 years, paramedic and firefighter.
Yeah.
And, there was a lot of times that in the fire service, especially in the volunteer fire department out in the county, where I was questioning my life choices. You know,
Yeah.
I remember one call, short story. We entered this hillbilly redneck juke joint in the county where there had been an assault. One drunk hillbilly knifed another. Do what?
Your
So it's your house.
sister's house.
No, not my sister lives in Delaware. She's a Delaware hippie, as far as I know. No, and so one drunk redneck knifed another drunk redneck, and my wife was an EMT in the fire department as well. So we are in the men's room of this hillbilly juke joint, and I'm kneeling on the floor patching up this one drunk hillbilly while there's about 20 more drunk hillbillies, 10 cops, 3 or 4 other guys in the fire department that came for moral support, and I'm thinking, what a cool Saturday night to spend with my sweetie in the men's room, kneeling in the men's room floor of the, what was that place called? The Barn Dance or something like that.
Yeah.
Love it. Great.
Yeah. Hey, I wouldn't pass it up. It was a
I enjoyed it.
great
I
experience.
bitch about it, but yeah.
It was a great experience. I mean, I remember being in the ambulance and, you know, the being rush hour and the roads being blocked up. And I was driving and we had a critical patient in the back. And I think I'd only been driving the ambulance for a short time. I wasn't an EMT yet. I was just, you know, firefighter driving our
Right.
old ambulance. And I went up on the sidewalk past Eaton Park, ran over a bunch of bushes and kept going.
Yep.
And, you know, we heard from Eaton Park about their landscaping and stuff. It's like, hey, you know, we had a patient in the back that was dying. You know, it's like, I'm going to do what I'm going to have to do. And then I got more interested in doing the medical side of it. And that has paid off in my life more so than I think any other skill I've learned.
I agree. Yeah.
You know,
Well, you know, and I know you do a little bit of prepping stuff too.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the beauty of having been in EMS in the field for any length of time is that's a lot of knowledge that's just solid gold to have, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I'm retired now for about a year and a half, and I miss the job a lot sometimes, and knowing what's going on, and you know, knowing why the cars were backed up on the interstate. But I don't miss a whole lot of the drama with it, and I don't miss getting out of bed at 3 o'clock in the morning on a work night to go deal with some idiot. So
yeah, when we first moved out here, we had you know, I had 2 Dobermans, and they loved the country, but we had some old barbed wire on the property we didn't know about, and they would get ripped open every once in a while. And I stapled up our dogs a couple of times, shaved them, cleaned it, got out the surgical stapler, staple them, and then you know, because undoubtedly this stuff only happens on the weekend when you can't get to a vet. So and then Monday morning we would take them to the vet, and the vet would look at it and be like, good job. You know, it's like, hey, here's some antibiotics just in case. And, you know, good job.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But yeah, it's paid off a few times. And we recently had a first aid class and had everybody in my, I don't know, I think it was like 10 or 12 people in my club. My club's not that big, get certified with CPR and first aid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I taught EMS most of the time as well. I've taught, I don't know, 10 or 15 EMTB classes and 1 or 2 advanced classes for EMT advanced.
Yeah.
I always kid everybody. I mean, I've taught a crap ton of EMTs in Montgomery County, and I always tease, if you've ever seen the Hunt for Red October, I'm like the Marco Ramius of Montgomery County EMS. I've taught most of them.
Yeah.
But anyway. Well, listen, it is 8:30. I still have to get packed for the trip to Huntsville tomorrow.
Me too.
Steve is in the
still
dark with
packing.
the artistic
Smile,
look.
Steve.
And somebody said it was like he's got the funny lighting, and I was like, that's his artistic lighting. Looked like he's in witness protection. My name is Steve. Tom, thank you for being right. Tom, thank you for being here tonight. It was a great show. Really interesting talking to you.
Sure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And always carry a tourniquet, guys.
Oh yeah. Are you you're a cat guy. I'm a rat guy. I got a rat.
I have rats too, because they're good for kids. You know, they're good for smaller people. Some these aren't one size fits all, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah. I've got the rat. I got it at a show or something somewhere, and that's what's in my bag that I carry to work every day.
Yeah. I have a
So-
couple. I have bags in my truck when I'm hiking. I always have a full med kit.
Oh yeah.
It's just like I said, it's paid off. I've been witness to some pretty severe car accidents and was able to step in, and it's a good thing to have. And just skills in general, start teaching yourself skills. I started canning this time for the first time this year because we were getting stuff out of our garden. And
Yeah, Steve, you can, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've canned gallons and gallons and gallons and gallons of stuff. I made maple syrup last, and
Nice. Yeah, just dipping my toe into that, and just me and my wife are just looking. We got to buy a bigger freezer because I'm filling the freezer up. I just got my doe tag for this year process, so I'll be ready for hunting season because I eat mostly venison, game meat. So
Now, what is the limit up there in Pennsylvania?
what do you mean?
The deer. What's your deer situation up there? Because down here it's like 1 per day and like 3 or 5 in possession.
Yeah, they only sell so many doe tags, so you have to purchase a doe tag.
For everyone you kill?
For everyone, you have to have a doe tag. With your general license, you get a buck license, so you can get a buck. It has to have at least 3 tines on one side, and then the doe, you have to have the doe permitter. You can't hunt a doe. We have elk in Pennsylvania, but that's a lottery, and I've been entering it for years and have never won.
Yeah, we have gator lotteries down here.
Yeah.
That's a big thing with the conservation department. They do that once a year and draw lotteries for that. And then they also do 1 or 2 bow hunt lotteries at one of the state parks that's infested with deer.
Yeah.
The one up close to Birmingham, there's a state park up there, and they do a bow hunt lottery, which is apparently a huge deal.
Yeah, the Pittsburgh airport does they basically do it like an archery test. You can apply and you go out and you have to shoot an archery test, and if you qualify, then they'll let you hunt on the airport property and stuff like that. And some of the parks in the more populated areas will do that as well.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, but out here, I mean, geez, we've had herds of as big as maybe close to 20 in the backyard of deer. We have babies running around now. We've got little fawns running around. They're still following their mothers around. They're out in the backyard playing every day.
I got turkeys. I have a flock of turkeys
Yeah.
out this window during turkey season, like literally 20 or 30 of them out in the pasture right next to my house.
Yeah.
And
It's good. Before I got on the stream tonight, went to the butcher and I processed about 20 pounds of chicken breasts. We chop it up into smaller portions for me and my wife. We vacuum seal it and then freeze it, and we grind a bunch of it and make ground chicken. So we were doing that. I was doing that right before the live stream. Getting that all taken care of. But yeah.
yeah, see, I would like to go to Texas and go on a hog hunt.
Yeah.
I would, and now we have wild pigs here.
it's hot in Texas.
Yes, I know. That's why I haven't done it. It's hot here too. I think it's hotter in Texas. We have wildlife management areas, which is actually technically the closest POTA to my house, and it is infested with wild hogs over there. And I don't remember what the rules are on it. I think it's open season. You go knock yourself out shooting all the wild hogs you want, and the coyotes. Please shoot the coyotes while you're there.
Yeah.
Because Alabama apparently has a truckload of coyotes everywhere.
Yeah. Coyotes are big around here. We don't have any hogs. No, hogs haven't made it this far north yet, so we hope they don't. But
Right. All right, guys, we said goodbye like 30 minutes ago, so we're gonna try this again. Chuck, what you got coming up? You're gonna drop a video pretty soon, right?
Yeah, I might drop it tonight, tomorrow mornings, one of the two. So
Excellent.
Should be out quick. Should be out pretty
Talk
fast.
all about
I
the
might just-
game.
Right.
What's that? The bait?
I said, Chuck's all
No, the
about the
game.
game.
Yeah.
he said
I
you're
didn't
all about the gains.
The
Oh,
gains. That's right.
Oh yeah, the gain.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hey,
that's right. It's a gain.
If you QRP, you should use a gain antenna. You should use a Moxon, Tom.
Oh my God, two or three times in one night, and firefighter stories. So this is like a full bingo card.
Yeah.
Steven, what do you got coming up? We're live streaming, I guess, from Huntsville Saturday morning. Me and you.
Oh yeah, yeah. We might be doing something in Huntsville. I'm going to try and get a new ham shack going at the Ham Fest, and I got a new radio, and I got that stuff to play with. A whole lot of content coming up on my channel.
Excellent, outstanding. Yes, Tom, what have you got? What do you got coming up on your channel? You're going to release your battery power video sometime soon?
Yeah, I think I'm going to wait until the project's done. Like I said, I have a video of me like unpacking the inverter and building the battery pack and stuff. But I think I'm going to wait until it's all said and done so I can go over everything and show once it's running. I do have another video I made about some of the recent POTAs I did, just some notes that I had. Going to try to get at North American QSO parties this weekend, so I'll probably be doing some of that here from home.
Okay. I will be in Huntsville. I'm leaving tomorrow for Huntsville, which is about 3 hours up the road from my house. And I will be doing my first POTA in Huntsville. I will self-spot. I'm bringing a 2-meter rig, so I plan to do 2 meter and 70 centimeter POTA soda from the Montesano State Park. And then Steve's bringing like 7 HF radios. I did bring a spare. Right.
Just so you know, you can't do soda in the same. Somebody has to be out of the zone for 2 meter.
What does that mean?
Well, POTA, you can just all be in the same place.
Okay.
But for soda, you have to be out of the one of the people has to be out of the zone because it's a smaller zone.
So like 10 feet away.
Okay.
Yeah, just got to be out of the zone.
So I have to get up from the picnic table and go stand farther away.
You have to take a walk, Holmes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll walk to my truck and then to the cabin and then right back or something. I don't know. I mean, I've never done it. And it's ham
We'll
paper
figure
to
it
me.
out.
It's entertainment, and it'll be interesting. And we'll do that. And we'll have multi-operator POTA, so like Steve can do contacts, and then I'll take the mic, and I guess, I don't know. And I think there's people there already. Go ahead, Steve.
We'll do K-Toads and Jim.
Yeah, right. Does digital contacts count for POTA, or is that frowned upon? That's not real ham.
You can't, yeah.
So you can do it. You can do it.
Okay.
It's about shoot, every time I've been on there lately, there's been like 4 or 5 guys doing FT8.
Okay, well, I meant digital voice, like DMR or D-Star or something.
As long as it's not through a repeater, yeah, you can do
Yeah,
it.
can't go through a repeater.
Okay, so a hotspot in my cell phone does not count as a repeater?
It does. But
It does.
you and I can do DMR simplex.
Well, that's true. Right. Park to park in the same park.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That seems a little sketchy, but I'll roll with it, man. I'm a little sketchy. So
It's supposed to be fun.
right. That's all I'm doing this for, man, is the entertainment value. I don't care about the ham paper necessarily. Anyway, we will be streaming our part of Saturday morning's Coffee and Ham Radio from somewhere in Huntsville, either at Montesano, which is my thinking, or from the parking lot of the Ham Fest when it opens up. I'm not sure which yet. And, Ape and Chuck you'll be at the house, so to speak. So that'll be interesting. And I have taken a holy oath. I am not buying any more oscilloscopes while I'm at Hamfest.
Yeah, whatever.
No, I don't need any more. I'm good. I'm trying to get a certain person from Wisconsin to buy one. I may just bring it anyway and let him look at it and try and use my. I got to use my Jedi powers on him. Well, see, I'm gonna get Derek, Amrad podcast. Me and him are gonna do a live stream, and we're gonna show you guys why you all want a scope because it's so cool. So you can ham harder. All right, fellas, thank you. I appreciate it, you guys. Thank you so much for the super chats. Thank you all for subscribing. We're gonna keep doing the Coffee and Ham Radio thing on Thursday night on my channel for maybe a week or two longer, and it eventually will migrate back to Coffee and Ham Radio's channel on Thursday as well as on Saturday. We will see you Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Coffee and Ham Radio on our regular channel. Thank you all. Have a great evening. Appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Tom, for making it.
Thank you.